The honourable member, Mark Mitchell.
Thank you, Mr.
I'm excited
Speaker.
about what's coming next, Mark.
Right. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I'd like to talk about something that has been in our media a lot over the last few months. That's our national security. In 2006 in Nasiriyah, Iraq, a supply convoy carrying food for coalition troops was attacked by al-Qaeda. During the attack, al-Qaeda operatives took a sat phone from a dead driver. Before the account was cancelled, there were over 200 calls made. The calls were spread around countries like Saudi Arabia, Yemen, the UK, some European countries, the United States, and 14 calls were made to New Zealand. Why were terrorists who were attacking and killing our allies in Iraq making calls to New Zealand? That is why we have agencies like the SIS and the GCSB, so they can find out who and why, so they can protect us. Mr. Shearer said yesterday that when he was the victim of a terrorist attack, he witnessed the death, the human suffering and the carnage that brings. I'm sure he has played over in his mind many times how that attack may have been prevented or stopped. The quickest way to invite a terrorist attack is to become complacent, to say it can't happen to me. Why would anyone attack us? Is that what happened to Mr. Shearer? Was he a victim of it can't happen to me? Had complacency crept in? Mr. Shearer indicated yesterday that he had to witness death and suffering before he became serious about security. Well, our Prime Minister has shown that he cannot and will not wait for people to die before he becomes serious about our security. That's right. He takes our security seriously right now. We're incredibly lucky in New Zealand that we have the most transparent and open political system in the world that allows us to debate and challenge ideas and legislation. The GCSB bill has been a classic example of this. The bill has had the full blast of sunlight on it for all to see. It has been debated until the cows come home. It is a good bill that has created certainty and clarity where there was none, that provides rigorous checks and balances and multiple hoops to jump through before any information is able to be obtained by the agencies tasked with protecting us. Finally, Mr. Speaker, I'd like to share some of my own observations. I don't want to be an alarmist, but on the other hand, I don't want a malaise to become part of our psyche that tells us that somehow we have been immunised against the threats that the global community face. We have not. For a decade, I witnessed the pain, suffering and fear that come with terrorism. I was forced to deal directly with groups like al-Qaeda, al-Shabaab and the LRA. Sometimes they are brutal and unsophisticated in the way they operate. Other times they have the use of the best and most sophisticated technology available. Sometimes terror attacks are planned sitting on a dirt floor in a shanty town in Mogadishu, and other times in a penthouse suite in a European city. But one thing they have in common is the desire to defeat security measures governments put in place to protect their people. They can sniff weakness and complacency out at 1,000 miles. I would like to acknowledge our Prime Minister, who is making sure that we are not an easy target, and in taking the steps necessary to ensure that someone like Mr. Shearer doesn't become a victim again. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Great speech, Mark. The time for this debate has expired. I therefore call on Government Orders of the Day numbers 1 through 3.